Relating to the first scene we showed, when you were in prison, how often did you come across people who said that they weren't supposed to be there or who claimed to be innocent?
More than a few times, that's for sure. You know, sometimes you'd think you have a prison full of innocent people, but a few times. Hi, my name's Stephen Gillen, and after a long career of organised crime and being a career and target criminal, I received a 17-year sentence as a Category A inmate. I was released as a Category A inmate after being in pretty much all of them, the UK's most high security prisons and special units. Today I'm going to react to two of the most well-known classic films, The Shawshank Redemption v. The Green Mile. Let's deep dive in there, guys, and let's get down to see what it's really about and see just how authentic they are.
Piggy, pork, I want me a pork chop. Oh, yes.
People don't know the intensity, the emotion, the desperation of what it's like to be in utter darkness day after day, week after week, year after year, with no escape in a high security prison.
Don't you listen to these nitwits, you hear me? This place ain't so bad. Tell you what, I'll introduce you around, make you feel right at home.
I remember a place I was in as a young kid called The Mount, and there was a square, and some of the kids who had never been away before used to come in there, and really hard-faced kids who would do all kinds of stuff, mainly for sport. You know, there'd be some terrible bullying in there, all the taunting, all this who are you, all the questions. I even seen people there, unfortunately, set their cell on fire, harm themselves, all kinds of stuff. Really terrible stuff, guys. Very authentic, this.
God, I don't belong here.
We have a winner!
I want to go home.
And it's fat ass by a nose! Where's fish? Where's fish? Where's fish?
And what you've got going on here, let me decode this for you, is a few things. Number one, people in them places are very suspicious. They have to watch their back. It's life and death. So they want to know who they're in with. So they'll push and pull you. And of course they are, you know, they're predators. They're predators. They need to survive. So if they can take a liberty, or they can pressure someone, or they can bully someone pretty much, not everyone is like that. This is a place where there are a lot of bullies, and if they can do it and get away with it, there are a percentage of people, they will do it. In high security prisons, I was set up, you know, some deadly enemies I had, even down in segregation, they would put us out there knowing we was enemies just to see what would happen. But even sometimes there was that bond, and because we knew that the officers had set us up, me certainly on that day I can remember, happened in Whitemoor, that we looked at each other and we said, all right, we're going to come back to this.
Ain't you gonna scream?
Good luck.
Let's get this over with.
Thank you, Mr. Farrell. My husband tells me you're a great believer.
Broke my fucking nose!
What I would say about the rape scenes and different stuff in this, guys, is, don't know about the States, I hear things that it's different over there, but I didn't see this stuff in the UK prisons. I was in all of them. I had 25 plus moves in the worst of the British penal system, but I never see this kind of stuff to this kind of level that's shown in Shawshank Redemption.
Ride all the time? Then at the end of the year, you figure the tax wrong, you gotta pay him out of your own pocket. I tell you, Uncle Sam, he puts his hand in your shirt and squeezes your tit till it's purple. The man never gets a break, that's the thing. He said, rich get rich.
Self-kill.
Keep telling no. Because if you do trust her, there's no reason you can't keep that 35,000.
What did you say?
35,000.
35,000?
All of it.
All of it?
Every penny.
Straight away we're thinking what's going to happen, but it's a very good example of what some of these officers are like. There's always the bullies, and there's always the ones who love the power.
I'd only ask 3 beers apiece for each of my co-workers.
Co-workers, get him. That's rich, ain't it?
I think a man working outdoors feels more like a man if you can have a bottle of suds. It's only my opinion. Sir.
What are you Jimmy staring at? Back to work!
Let's go, work!
I love this as well because there's more going on here, and what I see here is I remember where I was in the depth of hell, the 7 levels of hell I used to call it. You're never going to beat these people or anything like that. Just them little victories become really important.
Well, it's cold, ladies.
The colossal prick even managed to sound magnanimous. We sat and drank with the sun on our shoulders and felt like free men. Hell, we could have been tarring the roof of one of our own houses. We were the lords of all creation.
I love the character Morgan Freeman in this. He's a fundamental character that drives the script, but he's so typical of many guys in prison who I knew. You know, the guys he was looked up to, they was really good guys, but they kind of knew everyone, and they was the middle of the road guys who could get you wherever. He plays it absolutely beautifully.
As for Andy, he spent that break hunkered in the shade, a strange little smile on his face, watching us drink his beer.
Good luck, Brooksy.
I always found this scene very, very sad because I knew many guys like this. They was institutionalized. They didn't know what it was to live outside. You have to think what it's like when you're being told what to do, what to sleep, what to shit, what to all of this stuff day after day for so long. But you know the world has moved on. You're in a time warp, like this guy here. He's like a fish out of water. The other part of that is in prison, he's someone. He's respected. Outside, he's no one.
I saw an automobile once when I was a kid, but now they're everywhere.
This scene for me is very emotive, I have to say, having travelled the journey that I did. Not say that you don't have to be accountable for your actions and pay. I know that I certainly did, but there are a lot more other layers to this. And one of the most poignant parts is of many people that I have known who have took their own lives in prison under these circumstances because they was put there at the wrong time in the wrong way. They shouldn't be there, and the duty of care was not there all the way through to help these people.
The parole board got me into this halfway house called the Brewer, and a job.
And one of the problems with this is you have to think, for these guys, even though they've lost 20, 30 years, whatever, 10 years of their life, one of the things that happens when you serve a sentence like that is you're stuck where you was before. Your body might have aged, everything, but you're living on the old days, whatever that you was. So to come out and have to do these things like this, you don't have the skills, you're institutionalized, you're still living in the past, and many people, they can't cope with that. This is a very dark, frightening, empty place to be.
I doubt they'll kick up any fuss. Not for an old crook like me.
General prisons, high security prisons are different. They are not made for rehabilitation of prisoners, as what some people may think. They are made for containment. This is actually based loosely on a true story. I love the character, you know, I love the way he took his time, his tenacity. I love the way the film shows that in its structure, how it shows the dynamics, how it shows his real torture as a contrast towards his elevation where he escapes at the end. This is a masterful escape, right? And from the unescapable. I think the lessons here is that he took his time. Another thing people may not know, what does it actually feel like to the run up when you're actually set free from something like that? For me, I always knew I'd lost my future. I didn't ever think I was ever going to get out of there. I thought someone had killed me, I'd killed someone, something went out. You can't see your future, it's impossible to see your future. But I knew it was never going to be how I thought it was going to be. And then for me, when I went out that day, that morning, it was like going through a door. Through one world into another world, and it's very hard to explain. Everything was completely different, completely fast, and it took me a good 2 years to adapt.
I'm guilty of committing a crime. Parole violation. Of course, I doubt they'll toss up any roadblocks for that. Not for an old crook like me. Fort Hancock, Texas, please. I find I'm so excited I can barely sit still or hold a thought in my head.
And this is the thing, I can barely sit still. It's that inside stuff, that emotional journey with this film that's so gripping and compelling, and the human part of Morgan Freeman navigating it. And he's a very stable character. I knew many characters like this who was very, very consistent, who sailed through that sentence in some kind of way, but always remained the same. It's a moment, and you have to know that akin to soldiers in a war in deep trenches, there's a real bond that men forge traveling a journey like this.
Relating to the first scene we showed, when you were in prison, how often did you come across people who said that they weren't supposed to be there or who claimed to be innocent?
More than a few times, that's for sure. Sometimes you'd think you have a prison full of innocent people.
Like Andy Dufresne does in this film, is it actually a possibility for inmates to make deals with the guards and work for them?
Absolutely. I had prison guards I used to work with, and I knew many other people that did who was corrupt.
Brooks's story is absolutely tragic, but did you find it in any way relatable?
100%. I've actually known people who have sadly taken their own life, and this is a terrible thing, anywhere. And I really relate to that journey. It's a very authentic example.
Did you find the way Andy Dufresne escaped the prison to be somewhat plausible?
Possibly. It really depends. It was a high security prison. I don't think it would have really been done like that, because if he was chiseling away, at the wall like that, the odds are, the guards would have found it certainly in a prison like that. But elements of the escape are plausible.
Did you ever have your own experiences in witnessing anyone trying to break out from prison?
Absolutely. I was the head guy. I lived with that. I was crazy mental to get out of there. I caused mayhem in there with other guys around me, trying to get out of there. This was the thing. I lived with that. This was a comfort to me. Even as a cat, I get one chance, I was going to take it to get my life back.
By the end of the movie, did you relate to the sense of freedom they were trying to create?
Yeah, absolutely. This stays with you all the time, Even in the darkest of times, the human spirit is really powerful, and that is present, that is there. So really connecting with that, with the end, I was brought back to my own experiences. What do I think about this iconic, timeless film, The Shawshank Redemption? It brings me a lot of sadness, and a lot of residues of sadness come up. It's a real deep dive and a clear picture of prison is not glamorous, crime is not glamorous. This is certainly one of the endings, or there can be worse endings, there can be death, but this is one of them. And I think it's very instrumental in taking the viewers through what it would be like to be living in a hell like that. Great narrative in this film. As I said, a real emotive journey, which is what filmmaking is about. A seduction of the emotions for the audience with all the skillful elements put in there. What did I think about Frank Darabont's work in this film? This timeless classic, The Shawshank Redemption, versus another massive film, The Green Mile, and how do they compare? You're going to have to wait and find out, guys, because we're going to do a part 2 on this. These films are so big, and I promise you, you don't want to miss it. I'm Stephen Gillen. Thank you for loving the content, guys, as you're doing. You can go in if you want to find out more about me underneath in the description. Loads of free content in there, some books and other stuff, guys. In part 2, you're not going to be disappointed, I promise you. I have traveled this dark journey, and I'm going to take you right in there. God bless, have a wonderful day, and be lucky.